Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we have got how to get more points in squad battles. This video primarily is for maybe some new people that maybe didn't play squad battles this year, that may be new to FIFA and don't understand maybe how to get more points, or maybe some people that did play last year and just want to get better this year and hopefully get some better awards and just have a better time on FIFA. So if you do want to see more videos like this, make sure you do drop a thumbs up if you found it useful and hit that sub button as well if you want to see more of this content. But starting off, we're just going through, this is just for example a game that maybe a lot of people, maybe some people just starting the game might have. Obviously maybe people don't have great teams and they're just struggling a little bit and want to kind of know how to get more points. So this game for me only finished 2-0. It was actually quite a tough game, but we'll see by the stats at the end of the game how we got on. But this is probably like a generic game for most people, how most people's games will go early on, obviously not having the best of players and just trying to do the best with what they've got. So the game finished for us 2-0, and you'll see the stats and how we did. We have 14 shots, 8 on target, not great possession, pass accuracy not great either, just generally not a great game. Probably could have scored more goals, and you can see we ended up with 1956 points on legendary. So now I just wanted to go into a game and just sort of run through kind of like the best things and the best ways to get more points and the things that you need to be doing and need to be looking out for. You can see we did go 1-0 up in this game. I did score a pen with Valencia, obviously that was more for a daily objective. But for me, the most important thing is the 5 goals. 5 goals is the maximum that they reward you with points. After 5 goals, you don't need to score any more than that because it doesn't count. So the most important thing is getting you 5 goals, and you need to be very, very calm when you play against computer. The computer this year is better than it has been, I think, in previous years. I think it's much better in possession. So you do need to be a lot calmer when you do play against computer. You need to wait, just because like in this game I'm 3-0 up after 36 minutes. You might have some games where you're only maybe 1-0 up at half time. Like in the last game I was only 1-0 up at half time. You need to be calm and not rush your passes, not rush your play, and just know that you will get the chances. In this game, after 2-0, their team seemed to kind of like push up the pitch and seem to become more attacking and give me the spaces. And this is what I want to show you. This is how this is gonna break it down more than me talking. So in the pink is what we're aiming for. That would be the perfect game. So 5 goals is the most goals you can score with them rewarding you points. You absolutely want to keep the clean sheet as well if you can. That's going to give you more points. 10 shots on target is what we're aiming for. That is the most, again, that they will give you points for. Anything beyond that, you don't get any points for. 60% possession or more. 10 tackles or more. 0 fouls, 0 yellow cards, 0 reds. Obviously all that, no offsides because they deduct points from you and they take away from your final score. The 10 corners is an important one. But it's an important one depending on what your aim is. If your aim this year is to finish like Elite 1, you don't need the corners. Sometimes last year, there was a couple of occasions that I finished sort of 75th, 80th in the world, and I would just sort of have 1-2 corners, but I would win 5-0. You don't need, the only time you need the 10 corners and the 5-0 is if you're aiming to be like top 20, top 30 in the world. If you just want like Elite 1 or Elite 2 or whatever, you absolutely do not need the corners one bit. And then 90% pass accuracy. That is what we're aiming for. So going into the second half, again, I just want to talk a little bit more about then how do we go about scoring these 5 goals. Again, like I said, it's more about patience. You've got to be able to move the ball relatively quickly. And you don't want to give cheap possession away because when you play against the better teams in squad battles, and as people do get better teams, you do want to not give away cheap possession. Obviously at 5-0 you can see we're still going forwards. The keeper did try and clear it there. It is much harder to get the corners. I'm just going to show a couple of clips. Normally you would go down the sideline here to get the corners. That doesn't seem to work as much anymore. I think EA have kind of clipped onto that's what people are doing. So just trying to sort of go down the line here and get them to tackle you. It always seems to like deflect off you and go for a goal kick or run back into play. Now it's much harder to get the corners. That's why I wouldn't really put too much emphasis on the corners. It'd be much more important to get the 5 goals and keep the clean sheet. And I think the corners for me aren't really that important unless you're going for that top tier. But I'm just going to let the rest of the game play out just so I can talk about again how to score more goals. You can see we did have a shot there with Rashford. I tried to sort of shoot from distance and maybe hope the keeper would parry it out for a corner, but it didn't. It was a banger from Rashford. But in terms of getting more points and how to get the goals in the first place, fake shots are very, very effective against the computer. Just in general, I've found this year, for me personally, skill moves are quite effective against the computer, but especially the fake shot. The fake shot this year is really good. It's a new fake shot that they've made. That's really effective against the computer. That always seems to give you a yard of space. Because one of the things that I think a lot of people are struggling with in the game this year is it seems to be quite hard to create like clear-cut chances. But the fake shot is probably the best way to play against the computer and get kind of those clear opportunities. The other way is just to move the ball quickly. Moving the ball quickly against the computer is probably the best way to kind of like create a lot of chances. And as I said, once you get that sort of first goal, the computer it seems to open up a little bit more, especially if you get the goal early. You can see there's just loads of space now. Obviously Griezmann there scored me the goal. That is a lone Griezmann. That's not an actual Griezmann. It's just one of the lone Griezmanns from the catalogue. But obviously moving the ball quickly is probably the best way. And as I said, fake shots are probably the best way to score this year. But also, you want to keep that clean sheet. As I said, I'm 7-0 up. I don't need to be 7-0 up. I obviously only need to be 5-0 up, but I'm just shooting from kind of like, you can see I've just been shooting from sort of randy angles and that, just trying to get the corners, because now I feel like I won't concede. I've dropped myself back to defensive and my defensive tactic, so I'm just trying to not concede and hang on to that clean sheet. And if I can get the corners, I'll get them, but don't jeopardise the clean sheet to get the corners. Get the 5 goals, then maybe try and get the corners by shooting from distance, hoping the keeper will parry it and whatnot, and then just trying to get more corners. But don't jeopardise the clean sheet to get the corners. But in terms of scoring goals, as I said, it's just about using the fake shot, just moving the ball quickly, trying to not give up cheap possession, because the computer is quite good at retaining the ball this year, and it is quite hard to win it back. So I would say, especially against like harder teams, against when people get better teams, it's going to be much harder to get the ball back off them. So you don't want to like give away cheap possession. You want to always try and retain the ball and not give it away too cheaply. You see we get a corner there. Just try and do anything to get corners, but they're not super essential. They're just kind of like bonus points. You can see again, I tried running it down the line. For some reason my player took a stupidly heavy touch. So it just seems to be much harder to get the corners this year using that glitch. But yeah, get the 5 goals and go from there. And you can see we did get the win there. And you can see by our stats as we finished up 13 shots, which is good. The 10 shots on target, which is what we wanted. We got the 5 goals. We actually got 7. We got the clean sheet. 56% possession is good. Could have been 60%. Would have been a little bit better. We were a few tackles short, and our pass accuracy was a little bit low. And you can see we did only get 3 corners, not the 10. But as you can see by the points that we did accumulate, we got 2,643 points. The only reason that was down, the maximum you can get is I think 2,880 points. The only reason that was really down was because of the corners, and the rest of it was just the team. The team that I played wasn't a good team, didn't have great chemistry, didn't have a good team rating, so that's the only way that you'll get more points. But you can see that, for me, is how to get more points in squad battles. So just to recap, obviously getting the 5 goals is important. Keeping the clean sheet is super important. The corners aren't that important unless you're going for sort of like a top 30, top 40 spot. Use a lot of fake shots, move the ball around quick, and don't jeopardise your clean sheet for those corners, because you'll kick yourself, especially if you don't get the 10 corners. Then losing the clean sheet is not really worth it. But that is how to get more points in squad battles. If you enjoyed the video and you do want to see more, make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe as well if you're new to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed any information out. It would be appreciated. We'll have a nice discussion in the comment section. That's all, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.